How's it going, guys? Lexstar here with,
Chroma.
and just Chroma because Nicole's kind of grumpy. It's very, very early right now.
This man said fuck you in the nicest way possible as to he does not want to record.
Yes, in the nicest way possible. So I'm just going to record Paladins with Chroma. You
Yeah.
can cue us up if you so choose.
And because I'm getting tight, I'm gonna be toxic and I'm gonna run Vivian. Because these tryhards are getting on my nerves.
We had a very heated match with Sky. I'm not even going to mention the rest of them, just the Sky.
It was a Sky and the Tyra. The Tyra got a 30 kill streak on our team. There are 5 people in the team. Do the math.
We ain't about talk about that. I'm about to mess around with Vatu.
I'm about to be toxic. I'm running Vivian.
Word is good.
Right. Left click, go brr.
Give me a second. Alright. Okay. Yeah, left click, go brr.
Pretty much. One of my goals actually might be to get like gold Vivian. Her gold skin is dope. Actually, you know what? Let me give you an lie.
Skin booster. I don't get anything from that, you bastard.
That seems like a personal problem.
Vatu gets nothing. Actually, never mind.
Now Vatu should have a decent skin. Should I? Now, which one do you think I should go? Should I go gold skin
I'll just use Mayhem.
or her vampire skin?
Whichever one suits your fancy.
Hey yo, man, ask if you have a reason because I can't.
Vampire skin, because the cleavage.
I hear you. Understandable. Although I'm a bit of a batty man. Wait, that came
It's recorded now. You never living this down.
I'm more of an ass man, right?
Yeah,
and
say that. I'm more of a batty man.
I would prefer.
That was isolated too. Oh. I'm gonna get that clean and run. I just run that as a gift now.
That came out.
You have given me ammo, and I thank you.
Go away. But I gave everybody a blight because if I remember correctly, doesn't the skin thing doesn't it apply to the enemy team as well?
I don't know.
I'm almost positive it does.
If it does, well, good for them. Anyways, we had a topic for today.
Oh yeah, right. Our topic was like, why are the writers?
What constitutes good writing?
What constitutes good writing? Let me not say it like that. That would sound mean. Yeah. What constitutes good writing?
Your opinion first, since you're the one that came up with the topic.
Well, first and foremost, I think what constitutes good writing has to be intent. You should, as a writer, if you're going to be making something or making a product, your first goal should be to make something that people want to read. Like, it has to be relatable. If it's not relatable in some way, form, or fashion, then in some ways it can either come off insulting to the audience, or in other ways it can just feel like a drug-induced trip. If you catch my drift.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But, there is relatability and then there's pandering, which you should more than likely never do. Hello, sirs.
And that's actually something else that I wanted to touch on, which is pandering. Because you have people that like to either apply to the loudest. There's a, what do you call it now, behind us. There are people that, not a Tyra. What's the invisible bitch's name again?
Sky. I mean, the person we had problems with the last one.
Yeah. As it relates to pandering, there are some people that try, or companies, corporations, whatever, that try to appeal to what they think is the lowest common denominator, which in reality is sometimes just a vocal minority, if not all the times.
Yes, and most of the time they're not even really fans of your product.
They're not fans of your products. They're not the ones who are going to line up. Go away, Makoa. They're not the ones who are going to line up. Go away now. Makoa, don't go in your bubble. You're going to die. I'm going to put you turtles on an extinction shirt.
Oh my god. Oh, the lag. When you on an extinction shirt, all I heard is, oh my god. Anyways, continue.
I forgot that I have the sensor, so I don't even. I shouldn't even have to get Illuminate to deal with Sky.
Yeah.
Ooh, thank you for the alt. Thank you for the alt. Go away, Tyra. Anyways, yeah, back to what I was saying. They tend to pander, and that's why things aren't as good, especially when it's whether it's Hollywood, video games. Well, video games are a little less of a feature because video games, because they're still so fresh, they still have a lot of young blood that can go into them. That's not you know
Oh,
pandering.
I made a mistake.
But especially with Hollywood, they try to have it both ways.
Which
That
more than
which
often
is
does not
where
work and
it
is
doesn't
a
work.
detriment more of an A
And
plus.
to explain what I mean by both ways, Hollywood tends to try and both. I didn't even realize Tyro's behind me. Hollywood tends to try and both appeal to a quote unquote newer, more woke generation, if you want to call it that, which I really
I
don't.
hate that word.
I know. Oh, and in addition to that, they try and apply appeal to our nostalgia because nostalgia basically guarantees butts in seats, especially when you're talking about movies.
Yep.
But at some point, it's going to go away. To use a very recent example, I am going
Goodbye,
to
Turtle.
die. I died. To use a very recent example,
Oh,
GI Joe, what's his name? Snake Eyes. Yeah, the
yeah.
Snake Eyes movie that came out that just
There
bombed.
was a G.I. Joe movie that came out?
Yeah, it was about Snake Eyes. It was basically a Snake Eyes origin. Why is the stairs all the way back here?
I
I
am.
hope you didn't disconnect. And the whole thing about the movie is that it just feels like generic action movie number two.
I mean, that was kind
And
of
then at
That
the
was kind of
very,
G.I. Joe with a little PSA sprinkled in.
I know, but and at the very end, leave me alone,
Oh,
McCall.
my ping
And
is
at
at
the very
200. Why?
unfortunate, and at the very end of
Oh
the
no, Sky. Yeah.
this guy died. At the very end, it just kind of, had the character who was playing Snake Eyes put on a mask. And to be fair to your point, you're like, yeah, GI Joe was mostly action oriented, but GI Joe wasn't stupid, which is another mistake a lot of writers try to
Oh no,
make.
McCall, leave me alone. Oh shit.
Well,
Well,
not try to make. There's a lot. It's a mistake that writers make nowadays, where, especially with for cartoons, where they basically treat their audience like
like
they're
children.
mentally, like they're no,
No,
not
not
like
even
children.
children. Not even
They,
children.
they
Mentally
they treat
inebriated.
them
Cause
like they're
children are smart.
yeah, children are smarter than we give them credit for. And it's like, you guys don't understand that. And I remember it's a lot of times where, people will say, oh, well, the show was made for kids. It's a cartoon made for kids. So if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. And I'm like, you can make a
That's not an
cartoon for
excuse.
kids.
Saying
You
this
can
was
make
made for children is not an excuse for poor writing.
Exactly. You can make a cartoon for kids without it looking down and talking down to its audience.
Audience.
A good example is stuff that I watched growing up as a kid, whether it be the original Teen Titans, Generator Rex, Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls, Totally Spies,
Samurai
uh,
Jack.
Samurai Jack.
All the
Although
classics.
to be fair, Samurai Jack was a bit more adult
It
orientated.
was.
It just straight up they straight up almost never talked outside of when the Scotsman showed up
Oh,
and
the
called
Scotsman.
in the most interesting way possible. He
Called
called
him
Samurai Jack
a
every
sissy.
form of bitch that he could call him
Yeah, he just
without sense without needing censors. And I was just like, bruh, this man really went on like a 1 minute
this man went on
tirade
a tirade,
of
slinging slur
calling
after slur after Jack.
of calling Jack a bitch. That's all the man did while standing on the bridge. The man is just calling Jack a bitch. And I'm like, brother,
Oh,
what
not
the man
anymore.
did, so the man just want to pass.
That's not his
Anyway,
problem, though. Yeah, anyway.
that's not his problem. And you want to know the funny thing about it? Jack could have feasibly just jumped over him and called it a day.
Yeah, he
But then
jumped good.
we wouldn't have had the best friendship that has ever permeated that series in
Yep.
a while. And I think the funny thing about it, I remember in the continuation series, which was an actual continuation, unlike He-Man. I remember in the continuation series where they showed this man had a literal army of daughters, and I'm like,
Oh
hey
yeah,
yo,
you said he man, but Samurai Jack. Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct me.
no, I said unlike He-Man
Oh,
because
unlike.
He-Man wasn't a proper continuation.
Anyways, yeah.
But he had a literal army of daughters, and if we're dealing with context clues, it is very much implied that it's all by the same woman.
Yeah, no, it's no. He did. I think he did say it was all by.
Yeah, because no, it was implied because he was when one of his daughters had come out in a certain way, dressed a certain way, and he's like, Shayla, what would your mother say? And I'm like, wait, what? You're telling me all that literal army has one mother?
Yes.
Which beast of a woman did you get? That even what? Nani?
Anyways, we're getting off topic.
We're getting very off topic, but yeah, as I was saying, it's super, important to not talk down to your audience. The
Yeah.
audience isn't stupid, and a good rule that I try to stand by whenever it comes to writing is that seek to tell a story before you try and send some kind of message or shove a
Yeah. Do
message
not
down.
put agendas in your story.
Don't put agendas in your story, because one thing you got to remember is that you're not only taking people's time, but in a lot of cases you're taking their
Ah,
money.
shit. Yeah.
You're not only taking people's time, so in a lot of cases you're taking their money. And if you're taking people's money, you're not going to watch it. A very good example, or it's a bad movie, but it's a good example. A very good example is with I don't know, you're probably a little, not well versed in it, but is with the Charlie's Angel reboot that came out a few years back.
Mm.
And that reboot basically, made another mistake that I was gonna touch upon, which is don't isolate, or to be more exact, don't insult half of your audience base. That
Oh,
movie was so anti-male, it's not funny. And if
that's what they
any
did.
male director did that and made a movie where females or women, the only thing they're good for is to be in the kitchen and whatever this and that house that uncle fight. If any director did that, he'd lose his job.
Yeah. Like
Because
immediately.
that, well, number one, that shit's sexist. But number two, imagine isolating half of the planet's population, essentially. Women, and even another percentage,
Oh
because you
shit.
have to
I
you
forgot.
have to remember, some of these women, they have sons, they have fathers, they have brothers who they love dearly. And just to see a movie where the only indication for men to exist in there is for them to be shit on, that's not a good movie. That's not a good movie. And then in the promotional material, you come out and say, this movie isn't for men, and men shouldn't watch this movie.
Don't say that. Don't do
And then
that.
guess what? Men didn't watch the movie.
Yeah,
And
well,
then when
you told us not to, so we're gonna just go see
and then
what you
and
say.
then when men didn't watch the movie,
They're like, you're
they then
sexist.
proceeded no, they then proceeded to blame men that the movie didn't do well. I'm like, you insulted them.
Didn't y'all tell me
They,
not to watch your movie?
and I'm like, do you not understand what's happening here? Where's your sense of awareness and accountability? And I'm just like, you can do
That's
better.
not Hollywood anymore, my guy. That ship
You
has
can
long
do
sailed.
better.
That
And
ship
it's
has
and it
long sailed.
and I'm just like, you can do better. You can definitely. Oh, they got wiped. Fucking
Yeah,
niggas. And
yeah.
I'm like,
Free. Oh my gosh.
yeah. And I don't know. You can do better. One of the most recent examples that's feels more like an agenda. Hell, it even feels like a self-insert. Has to be I'm Not Starfire.
Yeah.
And to put into perspective how, like, the companies Hollywood, Warner Brothers, DC,
Here's
how
up.
aware they are. Yeah, my bad. How aware? I told it. By the way, I told you I was gonna be toxic. Look at my damage. Look at my
Hold on.
damage now.
How do I look at the match?
Scoreboard. End of match. It's to the right
No,
at the
no. I
top.
actually left.
Oh,
I saw
oh,
it. I'm looking.
brother,
I'm looking. Oh my.
brother.
Oh dear Lord.
I I told you. I told you I was gonna be
You
toxic,
and the Knesset are like, yeah, we're just going to hold down the entire team.
brother.
But
One
yeah,
hundred and 17,000. 230 damage.
All right, Kios up. Like, okay. The
Yeah,
whole I am
cute.
Starfire dumpster fire
That's
thing
literally what they called her.
was it was a
Yeah,
doozy.
it was a doozy, but I think the funny thing about it is how little even the people that were making it had any faith in it. Because what they did as soon as they put out the I Am Starfire trailer, they disabled likes and dislikes and they disabled the comment section. At least with Marvel and the New Warriors, at least Marvel had the balls to keep the comment section open. That gave us a lot of
If
gold.
if that if that is not filled with snowflake and safe space, we have failed as a species. Honestly. But
Exactly.
all right,
So
let me weigh in with that.
yeah,
The
go
whole
ahead.
all right, let me weigh in on this. Gonna get me. I don't know if it's gonna get me backfire. Ain't nobody gonna watch this. Representation
Man, say,
in
man,
writing.
say, I'm gonna watch this. I hear them on. Yeah,
Representation in forced representation, not representation in general. I don't really care what race, what gender, what preference your character is, as long as it's relatable and it's not forced. As long as it's not, I have a checkbox. Is this character? I need a gay character. I need a trans character. I need a dark skinned
actually,
character. I
I
need
want,
an Asian
let me
character.
let me let me comment on that. I think the most important thing is as long as it's not their whole personality.
Yes, as long as it's like, oh, this is the gay one. What's his personality trait? I just said
He's a
he's
homosexual.
the gay one. Oh,
Yeah,
so he has no
you're saying
character. He's the gay one. You're
he's the
homophobic.
exactly and that's another thing that I forgot to mention. When these kind of things that these agenda pushed or agenda based media properties, whenever they get pushed and then they fail, it's so weird, in my opinion, that both Hollywood in general and just entertainment media in general, they will put the blame on the fans. They'll be like, they're this ist and they're this phobe and they're this that, and I'm like, no.
No,
One of the things
we
that
don't
came to my
want you
mind.
muddying. All right, I'm going to go to the comic industries. We don't want you muddying up the characters that have been having character development and growth for the past
For
before
literal
I was
decades.
alive. That's
Not
how
like
like
I think like 2 years or 2 or 3 years ago, the 80th anniversary of Superman came out.
oh
Almost a century worth of character building, development, and growth, and you want to change it? Oh, we're gonna make Superman black. Oh, you
yeah.
mean Calvin Ellis, right? No, we're gonna make Clark Kent black. Why?
Why? You
Because
know, because they've been asking for it. You literally have a dark skinned Superman right there. Use
you
him.
have two. You have two
They
dark
have
skinned
two.
Supermans.
Oh, oh, that's wonderful. And they have an Asian one too. Remember the one from China? Or was
They
it?
have the Chinese one, but his abilities are actually a little different. But he's cool too. They actually have a Asian Justice League, which was pretty dope. Because they're at the time when it was written, their personality wasn't, oh, we're Asian. Their personality was, right, we have to live up to a legacy. We chose to be this, that, whatever, whatever. And I'm just like, tell a story. I'm on the point, by the way. Tell
Yeah.
a story before you try and push an agenda, because you can teach those kind of things. A good example, there's this web comic named Urban Animal. Urban Animal has a character who's a trans woman. Yeah, I think it's a trans woman, right? And that dude's character or woman's character, because I don't think he's fully gone yet. That person's character is completely separate from the fact that they're trans. The only reason they even mention the fact that they're trans is just because they wanted to point out the fact that the main character, who is in need of help right now, is a good person and was one of the few people who supported the trans person while they were going through that time in their life. Their personality isn't, oh, everybody's a ist and there's a phobe. Their personality isn't, oh, I hate everybody and I wish everybody would die, and if you don't da 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 da. No, that's not their personality. They have their own personality that does stem from them going through the things they did as a trans person, but it's not how they interact with the world. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I understand. Their personality is shaped on their experience, but their personality is not their experience itself.
Exactly, and it's so good. I even took a break from Urban Animal just because I wanted it to go a little further so I could binge it again. Because all the characters are done so well. There's a bi character who's very sexually aggressive, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing
Burst into the
because
room, sir.
she
Which
likes
one?
to tease her friends sometimes, and it's pretty fun. It's not a bad thing, but she's not promiscuous. She just likes to tease her friends. She's kind of like me when I fuck around with you guys and I make some way out of pocket
Sus
jokes.
jokes, yes.
I'm gonna just call it out of pocket, and that's
Out,
that's essentially
yeah. So
her some of her
and it's
character.
so out of pocket you have cargo pants on.
That's how fact. Nah, my cargo pants got 6 pockets, spread, and all of them are OT.
Oh gosh. So all
But
right. How
but
another
yeah,
example of representation, which I don't really see it as representation, right? Is Jane Foster 4 from
yeah,
the
Jane Foster is not
like
from
oh
what I forgot what the artist's name was, but that's not representation. That was an
that's a
established
that's a
character.
and they're like and it came off the backs of an established event, original sin where Four
Exactly,
lost his hammer. So it makes sense in that
it
respect.
makes
They didn't
sense.
just like arbitrarily kill off Four. No, Four
Or
lost his
another
hammer for like a bit too, like a
a bit,
while.
he got that shit back. And I think the worst thing about it, I remember how much they were bitching about Jane Foster, and Jane Foster I thought was so
Like it's
good,
such a good story
especially
too.
especially when she
You get some lore
when she
about Mjolnir and all of that.
you get lore about Mjolnir. You find out how she beats Mangog, and it's not like she gets the power without a cost. Because one of my biggest issues is like people should have to either work or suffer to get the power
Yeah,
that they
and
get.
and her
Because
cost was that. Oh, sorry, continue.
literally, it took out her
Her
chemotherapy.
chemotherapy, like she kept resetting, and literally
Exactly,
it all culminates with I'm about to die, but people are dying too. So I'm going.
and I
I'm
cannot allow that to happen.
exactly.
Versus certain moments in X-Men. I remember there was this one panel and I thought it was out of context. I thought it was fake, and it was Storm from the X-Men who literally said she dated a weather guy, and because he broke up with her, she proceeded to allow him to lose his job by changing the weather constantly.
Well, damn,
And you
Storm.
think you
That's
think
not.
that's female empowerment? You
No,
think
I think
that?
that's not Storm. Aurora would not do that.
And I'm just like, that Aurora is too big to do that. She's literally a god, not
But
even figuratively.
like
In some
exactly.
stories, she's literally a
She
god.
was married to Black Panther. You think someone married to Black Panther would be that petty?
She's gonna give a fuck just because some weatherman broke up with her? She got better things to do than waste her time
Exactly.
fucking with the weather just to make the man lose his job. But it can be done well. A message can be sent. A lot of things. Black Panther, it really touched on a lot of the racial inequality stuff, but it gave the message in a way that was very digestible, and that's another important thing. That nope, fuck off, fuck off, leave me alone. Oh well, oh, that didn't work out.
That's another
That's
nope.
that's another thing to keep in mind. One of the things is that a lot of these topics that should be discussed in movies, because I don't think there's any better place to broach these kind of subjects than with movies and TV shows and stuff like that. A lot of these topics, they are very heavy, and
Yeah.
because they're very heavy, it is always within our best interest to approach it through lighter mediums, through mediums where people don't actually get hurt, and there's no like long lasting repercussions. There are some, because there are some directors that are dicks. I'm looking at you, cuties.
Don't
But
mention that, please. I want this video to actually be viewed.
usually I do appreciate when certain topics are tackled in way call it now, in whether it be cartoons, movies, da 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 da, but it has to be tackled very tastefully. A very good example is the episode, and it was done so maturely, is the episode of Teen Titans called Troc, which basically addressed racism, but in a very specific way by introducing a hero Valior, and it gave a lot of lessons because essentially the synopsis of the episode, there was a superhero from outer space. He came to the planet Earth. He met the Titans.
Mm.
He kept calling Starfire Troc for some reason. The Titans
Oh,
thought it was a word of endearment.
all right. Hold on.
And
We're
then
don't queue up. We're getting near the time for the end of the video. Continue your point, but don't queue us up. We're just gonna end it on this
yeah,
screen.
yeah. So basically, so the guy kept calling her Troc, and Troc meant nothing, useless, that you're worth nothing. And Cyborg accidentally called her that. Like, it's as if Cyborg was calling her a nigger. And the
Oh my
issue,
god.
you're gonna
It
have
does.
to
I
censor
don't. I
that.
don't care. No, I'm not censoring. I don't care.
You have to censor that.
I do
And
not
that
care.
was it. And that was the crux of the episode, and about how her friends stood with her, how she was able to fight her own battle, how she was able to prove to Valior that she wasn't useless, and the fact that she even saved his life at the end of the episode. But even after that, you know what Valior's lesson was from all of this?
What?
His lesson was, oh well, I guess there's some good ones out there, because he's racist towards Tamaranians, and
Yeah.
his exact words were, I guess you're one of the good ones. Like, and it taught a good lesson. It taught us that sometimes it's the people that we look up to who have some of the more unsavory sides to them, and it's up to us, between us and our friends, to understand that there are going to be people like that in the world, and you might not be able to change them, and that's just that it's at the end of the day. And Valier went on into space. He went on to continue his heroic duties while still being the racist bigot
Haha!
he is.
I'm still racist. As he
Yeah, he
soars
was.
on, my planet needs me, truck. And then he goes
Yeah,
off into the stars.
that's exactly how he was. And I remember when he tried to even recruit the rest of the Titans, and they were like, "No, why
Boy,
after
if you don't,
you've been insulting our friends this entire time?
you've
Why
been
would we
throwing
go?"
slurs under Sykes, my guy. No.
Exactly. And so the lesson was done so masterfully well, right? And you can do it. I feel any story can be salvaged. And I feel it just takes the right writer with the right mentality, and you can do it.
Yeah.
But it's just that Hollywood has a quota, and
Yeah, and they
that's
have boxes to fill for fans that don't exist.
for fans that don't exist, they got boxes to fill that fans that don't exist. If you want to make a new property, like what they did with the She-Ra series, where they just
Yeah,
tacked on She-Ra for some reason,
yeah,
that's fine.
that's
That's
fine.
fine because
Do not ruin established characters for fans that are not going to buy or read your books.
exactly like He-Man. But
You still salty about that.
better.
You
It's
staying salty about that. That's a discussion. That's a discussion for another video. For
We will
another.
have that discussion for another time. But
Uh,
but yeah, those are
all
my
right.
thoughts on the
My
current state of writers in the
all right. My closing thoughts. Well, I just said them. Do not write books trying to pander to fans that will not buy, read, or even promote your work. Because all they're going to do is virtue signal and shit on it.
pretty much. Pretty
But
much. That's all they're gonna do.
but anyways, I'm going to end the discussion here.
Yep.
If this offended you, then this video isn't for you. I am not sorry.
If this offended you, grow up here.
Sure. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. It's free. Appease the algorithm. Follow me on Twitter. Be angry with me on Twitter. Follow me and curse at me. I will not care though. Because it's the internet.
It's the internet and it's Twitter.
Yeah. But anyways, this is Lagstar
And Chroma.
signing off.
Deuces.